letting them know this is the way it's going to be. That is a form of leadership. But there's another type of leadership that you have to do. It's called coaching. You have got to sit down with these agents, and when you go out and you own this process and you roll this out and you're excited about what you're doing, because I'm telling you, if you're not excited, something's wrong. You're going to make more money the rest of the year than you've probably ever made. You're going to be happier. You're going to have more time at home with your family if you do that, if you like that, because it's designed to do it that way, but you're going to be happy. You have to coach these agents that way. You cannot go and say, hey, you're going to be here for these 2 phone sessions no matter what. Sit down. Bring them in. They leave because they ain't loyal to anybody. You've never sit down and tried to help them. And I don't mean you as individuals, but as a whole. We don't sit down and say, how do I coach? How do I bring somebody in? Do you bring them in? Do you take their wife to dinner? Do you explain stuff? How well? You know how hard it is to bring an agent to the organization? But we let him go every day. And you know why? He don't want to show up for a phone session? He can go. I didn't like him anyways. How many times have we done that? I'm tired of them. Always excuses. How many times have you sat down, you connected with an agent or a DSM with a sales manager? You overviewed the situation. You arrange some action steps. You confirm those action steps, and you hold accountable. That leadership courage. I'll always come back to that. Leadership courage. But guess what? When you're arranging those action steps, what are you doing? You're coaching, right? They're telling you. You're not even coming up with the idea. They're coming up with the idea. You're going to hold them accountable to the same thing that they just come up with, right? That's coaching. That's the type of leadership we need. And guys, if you do those 3 things, the ownership, to be leadership, and leadership courage, over the next 10 weeks, you got to buy in. Train's leaving. Get on it, because it's moving, and it's great. Now, talking about holding people accountable. Today, you have got the week in a life. You're figuring out which agents are going to buck on you. You are basically always focused on, okay, now I got to get these pages filled out. I got to get these in my binders. There's a couple different things. We haven't even got to the best part yet. We have the marketing department. They come up with our sales kit. And this is so crucial. And then after this, we're going to talk about a targeting prospecting system. But in our sales kit, do I have a... Okay, basically what these sales kits are is you come in, you have 1-pagers. It provides on the 6 sales concepts. If you will, go ahead and open them up. Don't start digging in yet, but just open them up because I want you to see the concepts. Okay, what this is designed to do is you have a 1-pager that will, what is the sales concept? Because a lot of times some people don't know. How will it benefit my client? What should I know about the sales concept? How should the appointment be structured? And what other resources, tools are available to help me succeed? Now, for the most part, I'm not seeing it, but you will have a DVD or CD that is coming, is that right? That will also have all this information in it as well. It'll be online on the webpage. Okay, so it's online on the webpage. Guys, what this is designed to do is this will identify your 6 sales concepts. I'm sorry, we'll go first into the... Go ahead and go next. Using the agenda. First thing we're going to break out, you'll see in your sales kit's an agenda. Now listen, we talk about a lot of structure. We're bringing structure to the organization. Why not have structure to an appointment? We know that if you sit down with somebody and you explain from the beginning what you're going to do, how do I work, what is the end result, they feel better about it, I promise you. Now, this is to be used. A lot of people think this is to go into the fact finder. It's not. This is to be used leading into the values presentation. Does that make sense? Because a lot of people say, well, how do I do this? How do I do a values presentation? And then I turn around and do the agenda. We had some confusion before. So this is to be used before the values presentation. You're letting them know exactly what you're doing before you do it. This is what I do. Helps the sales rep start building rapport, reinforces the sales concept through the sales process, provides sales reps with an agenda page to use with the clients, depicts the sales process in a client-centered way. Before you start, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have the agenda here. I'm going to update you on the company. I'm going to gather some more information. You're laying it out before you even do it. Fair enough? Yeah, that is your agenda. Next. Okay. Now, real quick, the mortgage needs, survivor needs, ensuring a better tomorrow. If you'll open the first one up, because before I get into the fact finders, I want to dive a little bit more into this. A lot of agents, sales managers, DSMs, they always talk, well, this is the mortgage. Hey, go focus on the mortgage. Hey, your sales concept survivor. Now go do it. How'd that work out for you? This is designed, guys. An agent can sit down, and don't think this is just the agent. This week you got to familiarize yourself with these kits. This is a way you can sit down and say, here's your sales concept, right? This is what you're going to do. These are the people that you're going to approach, and this is why you should do it. And guess what? If you need a phone script, we got a phone script in there. We're going to show you from A to Z how to pick a sales concept and be successful doing it. Be no more hey, go to the courthouse and gather some mortgage leads, and your new concept is mortgage protection. This will dive in on every single tab. And believe me, if you have an agent that has a sales concept, and I'll say this because it doesn't make sense to me, if you come into an organization, or if you go to a doctor, if you go to a dentist, anything you go to, if you're having stomach issues, are you going to go to a brain surgeon? Right? Probably not. But that's the same thing with us. Pick something. Get these agents good at one thing because they are confident when they do that. If they feel good about something, they're confident. These are to build your agent's confidence because they're going to know from A to Z how to do it, who to approach, how it's structured, what to say when I call people. What does that bring? Confidence. If you talk about something, you know what you're talking about, you're confident in that. And if you're confident, you're going to produce results. It's going to be better, I promise you. Okay, first thing, it outlines exactly what you do from start to finish. Next thing, if you'll look in the back, the very back, and you guys will go more into detail on these sales kits once you break out into your rooms as well. Now, in the very back, there's some fact finders there. If you can go ahead and pull them out. Now, there's also a page. Can I see that? And you guys, if you can, this page here, if you see this, okay, it's financial security, what's important to you. Now, a lot of people think that because this was back with the fact finders, it's a fact finder. This is not a fact finder. This is not considered a fact finder, okay? I just want to make that clear. You have 3 types of fact finders. And when we talk about fact finding, guys, I got an agent, I had an agent when I was in Ashland. Some of you probably know him if you've been here a while, Steve Hines. We rolled this out and I owned it, and Steve, he took everything on. He's fantastic. But he's been here 30 years. Steve is tremendous. He made leader sales year in, year out. He's been successful DSM, sales manager, agent. He's done it all. And he sit down one day, and we was in a group meeting because, we got these fact finders. These are the ones you're going to use. Now, let me make this clear. These are the only ones that you will use. A client profiler, and then the two paper, which is a confidential client questionnaire, and the personal values and resources. Well, I was sitting in my meeting, and Steve, who's very successful, makes a lot of money year in, year out, was not bucking the system. He kind of owned it himself, but he said, Jared, it's unbelievable. He said, I've been doing this for 30 years. He said, my average case size, and I can't remember the time, but he made a lot of money. He always wrote really big cases, was this. He said, last week when we talked about going out and doing these fact finders, I thought I did everything. I had a notepad. I did everything perfect, and I wrote down, and I've been doing it for 30 years. I've been repetitive, been successful. He done one of our fact finders. It was actually the client profiler. He said it was unbelievable. He said it was hands down unbelievable. He said there was questions on there that I never asked before, and it uncovered. And I think he ended up rolling it, and he was actually a success story, wasn't he, on one of them, but $2,000 or $3,000 case. Not that big, but this is a guy that's been in the industry 30 years, very successful, and he'll tell you to this day, use the fact finders. These 3 fact finders, you got your electronic and both paper. These are the 3 fact finders you will be using from here on out. Now, if you have some other fact finder that you think is just amazing and it works every single time, go ahead and submit that to your DSM, let him get it to compliance. But other than that, unless it is compliant, approved, these are the 3 fact finders that you must use. Now, also, we may have touched on this earlier, but there's 2 types of appointments now, right? Fact finders and closes. This is considered a fact finder. A notepad writing down their life story is not considered a fact finder. So when your DVP or your DSM comes in to do the inspection, you say, well, here it is, I got it on my notepad. Well, you're no-go. You're red. You're red. I mean,